Hi everybody, this is Steve Krause and welcome to English 328 online for winter 2011. I'm looking at the class website and what I'm going to do is walk you through a little introduction. First thing I'm looking at is the syllabus, and that's the link at the top. It's kind of over here, I guess, that says syllabus. There's my name, Steve Krause, and my email address. By far the best way to get a hold of me. Phone number, office hours information, stuff like that. I'm teaching this term just a couple of classes that are all online, so I'm pretty flexible as far as the schedule goes. Those are my office hours. There's a description for English 328, and some basic things in terms of the things that you need to get a hold of soon. And the textbooks are this one. This is William Strunk and E.B. White's Elements of Style Classic. You might get a different version. That's okay. Any of the versions of this that have both E.B. White and William Strunk in it are fine. And then the other book that you need to get is this one. It's called Style, Toward Clarity and Grace by Joseph Williams. It's a yellow book. It's a trade book. Um, I actually have to tell you the truth. I haven't ordered my books yet through the bookstore. I'm going to do that very soon. But to be honest with you, you should be able to get both of these books through a store like Borders or Barnes Noble or Amazon.com or any place really easy. In fact, you can probably get the Strunk and White stuff used if you want. Before the class began, I sent everybody an email warning them about various issues that you need to be aware of in terms of online responsibility. I'm not going to repeat all that now. I just want to remind you of a couple of basic things. The first thing is that since it's an online class and the entire thing is online, you've got to be comfortable working with computers before you begin because it's the only way that we interact. If you're not comfortable with computers before you begin the class, you probably don't want to take it online. The second thing is that only you can be responsible for your computer access and internet access. I can't come to your house and fix your computer, and I don't know what your circumstances are in terms of your technology. You have to master that. And the last thing is that under no circumstances can I accept an excuse of problems with computer or internet access or whatever. So make sure that you have all those ducks in a row. It's really important to keep that in mind because um, sometimes people bite off more than they can chew with some of the technology issues and things like that with an online class. So I'm just saying that stuff up front. Basically, the course is divided up into three parts. The first part is participation. It's worth 200 points. 100 points for the first part of the semester, 100 points for the second part of the semester. And one of the things that's interesting about online classes versus face-to-face classes is that you have to actively participate to demonstrate presence in the class. In other words, as I say in the participation, I expect everyone will participate in all the class discussions. And the reason why that's so important is because even if you're reading and carefully paying attention online, I can't tell by looking through my computer that that's what you're doing. The only way I can tell that you're actually actively engaged in the class is if you post comments. The other thing that's important about participation is that you do it on a timely basis. You'll notice with the calendar that most things begin on a Monday and end on a Wednesday, or begin on a Wednesday and end on a Friday. And what I mean by begin is that you should consider that the deadline for starting conversation. And that's really critical because if everybody waits until Wednesday to start talking about a reading or an activity, then we're not really going to have a conversation. The way that I grade participation is I'll have you email me and let me know what you think that you should be getting for participation for the first part of the term and what you think you should be getting for participation for the second part of the term. This will all make sense as we go along. Let me mention one other thing about participation. One thing that I'm trying as an experiment this term is I'm teaching two sections of English 328 online, and I've more or less combined them. So instead of there being around 20 or so people supposed participating in the class, it's going to be closer to 40, which will be interesting to see how that plays out in terms of the energy, engagement, and everything else. The second part of the course is the blog post. It's worth 150 points. These are prompts that I will assign you as we go along. Look at the schedule and you'll see what I mean. And also look where it says at the top of the website on blogs. The most important part of the blog posts is that you do them and you do them in a timely fashion. What I've seen before is people kind of forget about the blogs, and it's really a shame because basically what you're doing is you're throwing away the equivalent of an essay for the class. So don't do that. You'll see what I mean as we go along. The major part of the class are the writing projects, and they break down into 4.5 categories. The first one is that will start very soon is a project where you invent a writing technology, and you'll notice I put invent in quotes like that, so you're not really inventing one, but you're making a new writing technology, and then you write an essay about it. The second one is an examination of commercials on YouTube through the lens of ancient style. The third project is actually a revision on either the first two projects based on some of the things that we've read from Strunk and White and Williams. And then the half part, or maybe the revisions that half part, and this is the full part, is a parody, imitation, remake of a style guide based on some of the discussions, readings and discussions. And the last project is a collaborative one in which you'll be working with a small group of your fellow students to make a short film, short movie, and then you'll individually write an essay about that process and how it connects to the writing process. There'll be a lot more details about all these assignments, and just get you started, take a look at the Inventure and Writing Technology essay assignment, which is already posted on the website. All the assignments need to follow the guidance for MLA style. Since this is a 300 level writing class, I'm assuming that you've heard of this. If you haven't, you need to get yourself an MLA style guide, and I have a link to that right there. I don't take late projects. For every 72 hours a project is late, I deduct a letter grade. You'll notice that I also deduct a letter grade for late projects in terms of peer review. So you will need to have your drafts posted in a timely fashion as well. The only exception I have for this is that if you tell me before a project is due, I will often grant some sort of extension. There'll be a lot of opportunities for revision in the class, and I talk about that in great detail. And then one other thing I want to mention about the assignments, one of the other experiments that I'm having this semester is the way that I'm approaching grading and peer review. And the short version, you'll see what I mean when I get to it, but the short version is this. Peer review, at least for the first two projects, is going to be anonymous and electronic through utilizing Google Forms. And grading for the first two projects is going to be a peer graded process in which out of 150 points for the class, or I'm sorry, 150 points for each project, you will assign for each person's project the 100 points of that project. I'll assign 25 points based on my reading, and 25 of the points will be based on your participation in peer review. You'll see what I mean when I get to it. I just bring it up now because it's going to be a little bit different, and an experiment for me and an experiment for you, and so we'll see how it all works out. Last but not least, there's a final for the class. The final is only worth 50 points out of 1,000 points, so it's not a huge consequential sort of thing, but it's something that you need to do, and it'll be due at the end of time for the class, which is April 15th. Note that whatever else happens in the course, in order to pass it, you need to complete all the major writing projects and the final. So you skip the final, you'd fail the class. There's the grading scale in terms of how it breaks down. Take a moment to read the part about privacy. Everything that will take place for the class will take place here in this blog, which is an open space. I won't post any graded information here. That will be all on EMU Online. But you might want to think about that in terms of like how you present your identity online. You might want to stick with just a first name and last initial. When you create a Gravatar image, you don't necessarily have to have a picture of yourself or just some sort of picture that you're willing to share that sort of represents you. Okay. Now, in terms of navigating around the site, if you look around at the top, you'll see I clicked on the link where it says syllabus, and I was reading through that. If you click where it says schedule, you'll see the tentative schedule for the term. This is probably the way things are going to go, but like I said, I'm trying some experiments as we go here, and so some things might be different. So you'll notice, for example, begin on Wednesday and complete by Friday. That means begin on Wednesday. You need to start these activities and complete by Friday this week, getting your WordPress.com blog set up, reading and discussing the Inventure and Writing Technology assignment, introducing yourself below, and then it kind of progresses as we go along. You'll notice that the first major writing project is due. We start peer review for it on Monday, January 24th. And actually, you'll turn it in to me by Monday, January 24th. And then I'll set up the peer review on that Tuesday. And then the final version of that project is due on Monday, January 31st. And hopefully this will all make some sense as we go along through the term. I think that's it for now. So welcome to 328 Online. I'm looking forward to working with each of you online and in person and via Skype and all those other sorts of things. And post your questions below and introduce yourself below. And as I like to say, I'll see you online.